if you are somebody that has a shopping addiction, or you have a tendency to impulsive buy, and you find yourself spending lots of money on lots of clothing items that you wear once or only a few times, and then it gets shoved to the back of your closet. Some of them might even have tags on them. I think I might have the solution for you. It's definitely had a pivotal impact on me and my finances, and that is a rental clothing service. I specifically use Rent the Runway. So today I'm going to go through why it's had such an impact on helping me to essentially stop my shopping addiction and help me regain control of my finances. A lot of my spending went towards shopping for a lot of clothing. The rental clothing service industry, and then this service in particular, is not for everybody. There are certain people who I don't recommend use it, and we'll go through that. And there are pros and cons to this service. But overall, I think there's an overwhelming benefit to using this if you're somebody who likes to buy a lot of clothes and always searches for that dopamine hit through shopping. This might be something for you. So let's get into it. Just to give you a quick recap, I'm going to take you through the website quickly at the end of this video, just to show you what the interface looks like and how you can search for clothes and what the platform gives you in terms of options. But just so you know, Rent the Runway is a clothing rental service. You can rent coats, you can rent dresses, tops, jeans, evening wear, casual wear, dresses, skirts, literally anything. They also have handbags that you can rent and accessories like belts and earrings, although those options are more limited. They're really geared towards clothing. And Rent the Runway, you can do a one-time rental, so if you have a special event, or you can rent monthly. I choose the monthly service. It's a subscription-based service, and you can rent as many items or as few items as you'd like. So you could rent 1 to 2 items per month, and that's it. And that might cost you $20 to $30. Or you could say, I want to rent 10 pieces of clothing per month, and you can do that. You can do 2 clothing rentals per month, which is what I do. So my first shipment at the beginning of the month, I get about 6 items, wear those items, and then I send them back. They make it extremely easy. And then I go onto the app and I rent my other 6 items, and then those come in and I wear them for the end of the month. You can keep these items for as long or as little as you like. Some people will buy the items and then wash them or dry clean them and then wear them again. Some people you'll see in the reviews will wear a dress like 4 times before they return it. For me, I really needed a long coat because I take a boat to one of my offices once a week in the winter, and it's freezing here in the Northeast. And so I really needed a warm, long wool coat that would keep me warm. And I couldn't find one that I wanted to spend the money on this year. So I just rented one, and I've been renting this coat for like 3 months. So if I have 6 clothing items that I can rent in my first shipment, that coat is one of my 6. So then I'll just keep the coat, and then I go and rent another 5. So you can rent as little as 1. You can rent as many as infinity, I guess. You can rent as much as you like. And Rent the Runway is constantly adding new clothing items to their stock of what they have available. So I will show you again a brief review and inside look at the website. But first, let's go through the pros and cons. The first thing, and this is huge for me, is that you're not accumulating stuff. Throughout all of the years of my shopping, if you're new to this channel, I had a major shopping addiction. I just had clothes and clothes and clothes, like just endless amounts of clothes. At one point, I had a giant walk-in closet, and I had clothes just bulging out of it. What would happen is that I would shop and shop and shop, and then I would become so overwhelmed walking into my closet that I felt like I couldn't breathe. And so I would go and donate the clothes. Most of these items were worn once or twice. Some of them even had tags on them that I thought I would like in the moment, take it home, never wore it, and then look at it a few months later like, I don't know why I bought that. I actually don't like that at all. Or I would have a few items in my closet where I would wear it once, like it, wear it the second time, and then essentially be bored of it or like not like it anymore, and you're kind of past the point of return. So what would happen is that this was a trend for years, like a decade, where I would just build up a closet full of stuff, and then I become so overwhelmed, I do a clean out, and I would sell some things, but to be perfectly honest with you, I am not somebody that likes to sell items. There are a lot of people out there that get joy from doing the upload to Poshmark or eBay and then selling it and getting the money back. I find it a complete time suck and nuisance. Like I'm pretty busy. I have one full-time job, 2 side hustles, and a YouTube channel. I don't have time to like go and take photos and measurements and upload and answer questions and ship it out. And even if I do, I just find it really annoying. So I would become overwhelmed with this stuff. I would sell a few items, I would donate most, and then the cycle would start again. And I stopped my excessive shopping essentially a little before I started this channel in July. And when I moved, because we moved not too long ago, I got rid of like 2 bins full of clothing. When I say got rid of, I donated most of it that could be donated. And then I did 2 closet declutters on this channel separate and got rid of all that stuff. I'm now at a point where like there is space in between my clothes in the closet, and like I have plenty of space in my drawers, and it is awesome. So that is a really long-winded way of saying that if you're somebody who is overwhelmed by accumulating stuff and it just gives you like this heavy constricted feeling, like me, if you aspire to have a closet like, let's say, a minimalist, you see these YouTubers that will have like 3 sweaters and 3 pairs of jeans, and it's very neat and clear. A rental service allows you to maintain a clutter-free space while still adding variety to your wardrobe, because that is something really important for me. Is that the reason why I shop so much is because I get bored of clothes so easily. And I like to just try out new fashion trends and try out new things just to see. And so this service, now I see that now that I've gotten rid of so much stuff and I finally have a space that's clear, I still want to do another round. I can do one more round, I think, but it's still like, it's just so nice, and I don't feel like I'm restricted at all. So using a rental service allows you to maintain variety without having a very cluttered space in your drawers or in your closet. Number 2 is that it's more sustainable than buying new clothes. There was that documentary that came out recently, I think called Buy Now on Netflix. And that really, although to be honest, I don't think it was well done. I think they could have spread that message in a much better way, but they did get the message across nonetheless, and that is the overconsumption of clothing and the waste that it's causing to our environment. Whether it's fast fashion or designer clothes, it doesn't really matter. We're doing a lot of harm, and I'm not this like huge environmentalist, but I am somewhat aware of it, and I know that it is doing a lot of harm to essentially our earth. So if I can play a little part in that, it does make me feel a little better. And so instead of buying something and then having it go to the landfill not too long after, much more environmentally friendly, and it definitely aligns more with a more minimalist, conscious lifestyle. So that's a huge benefit. Number 3 is that it satisfies the urge for variety. I touched on this at point number 1, but it is worth re-emphasizing that if you like variety in your closet, this is a huge benefit and will do that for you without fully breaking the bank, without adding clutter, and at least for me, without making a huge dent in my finances, because it's controllable. You can control how many items you rent and how many rentals that you get per month. I'm someone, like I said, that always needs something new, no matter what. Like I have experimented with not shopping in the past, But what would happen every time is like I go for a month or two, which goes to show you my shopping addiction, because a month or two of not shopping is not a long time. And then I would just be like, I would buy one thing and then the whole floodgates would open. Then I would just buy new stuff. I could never, I do have a select few items in my closet that I will wear over and over again, but I mostly wear those items in a very casual way, like around the house or maybe out to do errands like grocery shopping, but I'm not wearing it like to work or out. This is one of them. This is a Club Monaco sweater. It's one of the things that I'll wear around the house. I went to Whole Foods quickly, so I wore this there, but I'm not like wearing this out. So I do have a few key pieces, but for the most part, going out, going to work, going to events, just going out to dinner, I like variety in my closet. And so this rental service gives you that ability to kind of scratch that itch, but in a much healthier way. I do want to point out though, and I'm glad that this comment was made because I wouldn't have even thought about it, that I have talked about Rent the Runway in the past, and somebody mentioned in my comments, I wish I remembered her name. I'm so sorry if you're reading this, but I guess that she tried out Rent the Runway because I had been talking about it. And so she mentioned it and I was like, oh, awesome. How do you like it? And she said, well, I'm going to stop because the clothes don't fit me the way they don't fit me. Essentially, she said they don't fit her as well as she'd like, or they're not like perfect fitting. And that is something to note, that most of these clothing items, although it gives me variety, they're about 98% of them are not items that I would actually buy because for me, they're not perfect enough. Sometimes the cut is a little weird. The fit is a little weird. I don't love the length or the material. That said, the reason why I still love it is because it's good enough to wear to work or out to dinner, but I'm not tied to it. Like I'm not tied down to it. And I know that. So I don't mind that it's not like the perfect fit in terms of a top or pants or a dress, because it's a one-time rental, maybe a two-time rental, and then I can give it back and not ever rent it again. And so a lot of the items I'll be like, iffy on, but I'll just wear it to work and then see how I feel at the end of the day. Most of the time, the feeling of newness to me is way better than having things fit perfectly. The one thing it did do though is it did help me find some brands that I actually really enjoy. Like Theory is a brand I really enjoy, and I probably wouldn't have known that if I hadn't started this rental service. And so I think it's important, if you are considering, just know that you do get a lot of variety, but with that variety, there are going to be items that you might not wear at all. You'll get it, and then you'll be like, whoa, this is not for me. I've gotten dresses that are so short that I can't move my body. And I'm like, I can't go out in public like this. And it's going to happen. And there are some things where I'll come out and my boyfriend's like, whoa, that's hideous. But I'm like, I don't care. I don't own it. So I'm going to like test it out. It's fine. Go to work. And inevitably, I will usually get one or two compliments on whatever I'm wearing, even if I hate it. So it's fun. It's fun. The next pro is that financially it can be cheaper than buying clothes. And this just depends on how you shop. So my rental clothing right now costs me $180 per month. And that will give me what? That will give me 12 pieces of clothing to rent per month. In this journey of budgeting, there was a point in time in the beginning where I cut out Rent the Runway for a few months. And I was like, I'm going to just stick with like a uniform, right? I'm going to find like one or two dresses for the spring, for the summer, for the winter, and then I'll buy a few of them so that I'm just kind of always wearing the same thing, like one black dress that I'll buy like 3 of for the winter. But the problem is that one, I would be miserable because again, I love variety. I don't think that would work for me, at least not right now. And two, anything that I found when I was considering this and I would shop for dresses, the cheapest dress I could find that I would consider buying 1, 2, or 3 of, multiples of, that I knew I would have a chance of wearing every day and being okay with it, they were not less than like $400 each for a dress. And I know some people might be like, that's crazy. You can go to like X store or X website and get this dress for like 40 bucks. Maybe, but I like what I like. And I like certain lines and I like certain colors and I like certain textures. And I shopped everywhere. Like I did a deep dive into the types of dresses. I knew the cuts I was looking for. I knew what would work on a daily basis. And when it came down to it, the dresses I found were at least like 400 each. And I would have had to buy like a few for winter, a few for spring, a few for summer. And this is not including like casual days or nights out or events. And I was just basically, when it came down to it, and then you tack on dry cleaning on top of it, and then also the cluttered space, and then also the fact that at some point I'd have to get rid of these clothes because I'd be over it or it'd be holy or whatever. The 180 a month for me keeps me in check mentally, emotionally, and financially, all three combined. So for me, in my personality, it's a no-brainer. And the last one is that you have no more buyer's remorse. There's so many times that I would buy things and think like, this is it. I'm going to love this thing forever. I'm going to have this thing for years. And I never did. And then sometimes, like I said before, I would buy things and think it was the best thing. Like, oh my God, this is the best dress or the best jeans. I think I found the best item. And then I'd wear it a few times and be like, no, definitely not. And case in point, I have a pair of jeans in my closet. I've had them for about 7 months at this point. The jeans cost about $265. They were from Girlfriend. I bought them on Revolve. And when I bought them, I was like, oh my God, these jeans are so perfect that I don't need to ever find another style. I was like, I need to buy these in 2 other colors, like a black and something else, because they are perfection. Fast forward 3 months and fast forward to now, they're not. I don't like them at all. Like I'll wear them, but like I don't love them at all. 1 to 10, I rate them like a 3 or 4. Because now that I'm like wearing it and in it, there are things that bother me. They're too long, which I know I could get them hemmed. I don't like the waist. I don't like how they bunch up in the crotch. There are just things that bother me. So that's buyer's remorse. And I'm way past being able to return them. And I don't feel like selling them. And if I sell them, I'll have to buy another pair of jeans, which I also don't want to do. So I'm just kind of stuck with like a blasé pair of jeans. And so the beautiful thing about renting clothes, the one thing is that Rent the Runway, though, it does not have a good selection of jeans, in my opinion. Like, they're not there yet. So I think I've rented like 1 pair of jeans and I don't like what they have to offer. But I don't have renter's remorse. I don't need to because I just send it back. So I haven't had buyer's remorse minus those jeans in a really long time, and it's awesome. Okay, let's go on to the cons because there are some cons that you need to be aware of. The first one is that it still keeps me in the consumption mindset. And if the goal, and at some point the goal is to rewire my brain to really try to find inner happiness, and I know that sounds woo-woo. It just sounds like, it feels like a little cheesy to me, but it's true. And to not seek external validation. If that is my goal long term, then I'm not solving this problem. I'm kind of just staying in that loop, but just in a different, slightly less expensive way. Although I think it can be beneficial emotionally and mentally in some ways. In other ways, it's just still keeping me in that same dopamine shopping cycle loop that I've always been in. I've never really tackled the root cause of it. Number 2 is that if you're using Rent the Runway or you're considering it, it could just be a justification to just keep shopping. Like, does it feel like a smart, intentional choice, or is it just a way to always have new things? And to be perfectly honest with you, I feel like I'm a little bit of both. Like, it feels like a very intentional purchase, but at the same time, yeah, it's a way for me to always have new items. So am I justifying it, or is it rational thinking? I don't know. Number 3 is that it's a subscription service, so it's ongoing spending. And if you're somebody who is trying to get your finances in control, that like me, then you really have to look at it hard and figure out if this is a subscription, if this is a cost every month that is actually worth it. I did that. Like when I started off this budgeting journey, I kept Rent the Runway in my budget for a few months. And then I took it out and tried to be without it. And I just discovered, based on my thinking, based on my like stress level, which, I mean, first world problems, like stress level of getting dressed in the morning. It's, I sound so ungrateful, but it's true. Like I hated getting dressed in the morning, and then like shopping for things. Like I didn't want to pull the trigger on things that I knew I'd have to wear for over and over again. I don't know. It was a whole thing. So for me, the subscription and the ongoing monthly cost is worth it. But just if you're considering it, just put it into your budget and make sure that it can fit into your budget. And it's worth noting that when I took Rent the Runway out and went without it for, I think, like 2 months, when I put it back in, I took things out of my budget to put it back in. I didn't just add in another 180. There were things that I cut out of my budget to compensate for that extra cost. The other thing is that the feeling of never actually owning anything can be really frustrating for some people. It's kind of like renting. A lot of people say renting is like throwing money away because you're not putting anything towards the equity in your home. You're just giving it to somebody else. Personally, I think renting is freaking awesome, and I would rather rent than own, at least for a very long time. And it's kind of the same thing with this rental service. I will take the benefits that comes with renting over not owning anything. In fact, that is one of the benefits, is not owning anything. But there are people out there who like to have their own clothes, who can go back to it and it is theirs. They don't ever have to ship it back. But at the same time, you can also purchase the item from Rent the Runway if you really like it. So then you can make it yours and you can keep it for as long as you'd like. But some people just like their stuff, their clothing, and some people also just kind of skeeved out by like renting and sending it back and wearing something that other people are wearing, have worn in the past. I'm not, because I know that they dry clean and it's fully clean and disinfected, but some people are just bothered by that. So I would say rental clothing services can serve a huge purpose and be quite beneficial in helping someone with a shopping addiction or impulsive buying cut down on their spending, but only if you're using it thoughtfully and responsibly. And if you want to know who this is for, I've recommended Rent the Runway to essentially all of my coworkers, my sisters, like anybody I talk to. Anytime somebody compliments me on my outfit, I'm like, oh, Rent the Runway. It's basically to the point like my entire office knows, is that a rental? I'm like, yeah, Rent the Runway. And my sisters, I recommend it too, but it is not for everybody, and I try to make that extremely clear. So who it's not for, one of them is like if you're somebody like my sister. So my sister hates shopping. She hates scrolling retail websites. She hates looking for clothes. It stresses her out. She is, I think she's 53 now, and she has clothing from her college days. Most of her clothes are like minimum 10 years old, maybe even 15, and she wears them all the time and she loves them. The more her clothes are lived in, the more she loves them and the more comfortable she is with them. And I also work with women who are the same way. They like shopping, but they like their items. They like to know how it fits. They can trust that the item will wear well. And so if you're that person, Rent the Runway might be a waste. Like I wouldn't go and try it. Maybe for an event or something, but it's not, if you like to use your clothes, really use them, and you like them lived in, it's not for you. I wouldn't even really try it. I mean, take a look if you want, but I think it would be a waste of money. Who it is for, though, is anybody like me, like what I described. If you, again, have a shopping addiction, impulsive buying, excessive shopping, if you kind of feel like you're out of control with buying clothes and you constantly feel like this is it, and then a few weeks later you see something and you're like, yeah, but I do need that. I do need that in my closet. Newsflash, we don't. If you're somebody who has just a ton of items in your wardrobe and you look at your wardrobe and you're like, I have nothing to wear. That happens to me all of the time, or at least it did. all of the time. I would look at so many items of clothing and like, I have nothing to wear. I want to wear none of this. If that's you, yet you keep shopping, you keep going, and you have items with tags and you have items that you probably never wear again, although you don't want to get rid of it because just in case, rental clothing service might be for you. Just know, again, the items might not fit perfectly, okay? It is a rental service, and so there are some brands that they don't have, and I will not be able to rent, and that's okay with me. That's fine. So I'm going to take you through Rent the Runway just so you can see what it looks like, the inside interface and platform. And they have an app, and then they have a desktop version. So if you come in here, generally it will, this is what I really like about it, is that a lot of these items have reviews, and the reviewers will post a photo with their review so you can see like what it fits like on somebody. There are often sometimes when I'll see a dress and it looks nice, and then I see it on reviewers and I'm like, probably not for me. And the way that they get those reviews is that you'll get a pop-up that looks like this every single time, and it's like, hey, do you want to review these items? Before, they used to actually force you to review. Now you can just do save for later. So these are all of the items that I have rented recently, and I'm going to save for later. Essentially what they do is they curate clothing based on either the time of year or certain holidays or events coming up. So because we're in February, they've curated clothing that you can peruse through for Valentine's Day to see if there's anything that looks interesting. Maybe you have a Valentine's Day or a Galentine's Day. And then you can click view all, and you can see all of the items that they've curated for Valentine's Day for you to choose from. Game day, of course, we have, I think, the Super Bowl coming up. So then they have a bunch of options here, which is more casual attire, and you can go through here. This just makes it, you can go view all, because this is not all of it, and this just makes it easy to filter through for certain things that you like. Romantic getaways, same thing here. You have some options. Cozy weather weekend. So this is more casual, sweaters, outerwear, and then ski outfits. Most hearted tops. So these items were the most hearted on the website by users and reviewers. You can go through there. Oh, that one's cute. Let's go heart that. You can heart it, so you can like it, and then it'll be added to your list of loves that you can go back. You can also add it to a list. So if you have a list of summer dresses or fall dresses or winter dresses, that makes it easier than going through a whole list of dresses. You can just go into your list and see what's there. New York Fashion Week inspired, new and fresh. So these are new items that are here that you can look at, see if anything looks interesting. Mardi Gras, Quiet Luxe, French Girl, Buy Now. There's so much. And then what you can also do is just search by, let's say, dresses. I rent a lot of dresses because you're only allowed a certain amount of clothing. So instead of doing like a top and a skirt, that's 2 pieces, I just do a dress. It's way easier. And then here you can filter through, which is really nice. Oop. Cocktail, work, night out, wedding guest, gowns, weekend, tall friendly. It's pretty awesome. And so right now they have my measurements because I've saved my measurements in my account, which is like 4 and 6. Right now I'm just on dresses, so you can go through the whole thing, or you can filter it by length, by style, by weather, by reviewers. There's a million things you can filter it by. But let's just click on one. Let's click on this one. I'll show you what this looks like. What I like I said, is the reviews. So this one has 270 reviews, 4 stars. So you can click here, you can see, let's go to full details. Okay, and then let's click on reviews. Maryland Perfect LBD. That's not a great photo, but you get the idea. Another one, stretchy and short, sexy and sophisticated. Showstopper, my favorite, sexy, cute, comfy, short. So there you go. There's that. And then also what you can do too is, like, I like certain designers. So I like ALC, I like Staud, I don't know if that's how you say it. I like a Goldie, and I also like Theory. So you can search by designers. So let's go to Theory and see what they have. Ooh, Talkin. Talkin's a good one. I really like Talkin. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but I do like them a lot. And then you just go through and essentially you just shop. And this one, I rented this one for a summer event last year. It was very nice, but very revealing. So if we click add to bag, then you've added one and then you go through and find the rest. The other downside that I failed to mention is that things can go out of stock pretty quickly. So if you, let's say you add your 5 or 6 items to your bag and then you keep them in there for a little while and come back a few hours later, there is a very good chance 1 or 2 of those items have been rented and they are no longer in your bag. Like, things go out very fast. I rented one coat a while ago at the very beginning of the season, like November. It's been out of stock since then, and we're in February. So they are adding new items. They are adding new designers, but that is also a very big problem. If you go onto Reddit, you'll read a lot of people talk about this, that things go out of stock very fast. And so I know sometimes it'll take me a while to go through the site and find the things I want to rent, but when I'm ready to do that, I give myself the time because it's so frustrating to go through, find everything, and then come back an hour later, go to your bag, and nothing's there. It sucks. That's why I love Rent the Runway, and that is essentially a huge reason why I've been successful in essentially stopping the shopping addiction and stopping impulsive buying. I basically don't do it anymore. And it took a lot of effort. There are other factors that went into it, but Rent the Runway is definitely a huge part. So I will leave a link below. I'm not sure if it's an affiliate link. If it is, I don't think I earn money from it. I'm pretty sure I might just get like 1 extra space for the month. So feel free to use the link or don't, just go and Google it and check it out and let me know what you think. Okay, thanks.